What's going on, tribe? This is Genesis Lee, and I want to invite you to the first episode of the Roots and Remedies podcast. Now, I had a podcast before, but we took a break and now we're back again. Okay. And by request. So y'all wore me down with the request. And so I decided, you know what, let's do this because this way I can get a lot more information out. If you're a part of the Patreon, which you've got to be to hear this podcast, unless I decided to share one as a freebie to the outside world. The people hanging down in the free membership rafters, you normally don't get anything. You probably get like one post a month. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? You might be stuck on repeat. You might be stuck on repeat mode, getting just enough, but still not making that commitment to the next season. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about. So let's just dive right in. This first episode was actually going to be about the secret, the hidden dangers of vitamin D deficiency, because Roots and Remedies will be just that. We will get to the root of things and we will find a remedy. There will be a remedy presented. We will go down some rabbit holes and discuss some things, and that can be herbalism, that can be wellness, mental, spiritual, physical. That is my expertise, spirituality and wellness and herbalism. So I will speak on that and many other topics that are along my journey, leaving the country and living outside of the country, and how, the transition of that, relationships. Got a lot to say about that. But for now, as you ride into work, because many people requested the podcast because they wanted to listen to something while they rode into work. So as you ride into work, let me fill your car with some info, or just let's just spew information. So, and experiences. The reason why I switched up from the vitamin D to the loop, the ritual to get out of repeat mode, is because I had a whole day filled with 360 aha moments, where one conversation, I said one word that turned into having a full-blown vision of a previous event, and how I had this like tunnel vision of everything in my life right now repeating, but differently. And I started to see it years back when I moved to Aruba from the States. I said, something feels weird. I feel like I've jumped timelines. Now, for all you not spiritual people, or, like, oh, here we go into this like jumping timelines language. I'm not that person, but I'm that person. Okay. Let me explain. That's how it felt. I don't know what the hell else to tell you. Okay. I can't give you a better sentence to describe the feeling. I felt like I had been given an opportunity to start my life over and choose differently. And everything that had happened in my life, probably about over a decade prior, was happening again. But I could see it coming. It was like, hey, here's the guy. Before you chose that guy, don't choose that guy. We know what path that guy takes us down. Hey, before you chose to move to that location, you've already done that. Don't choose that one again. Choose something different. Did you ever watch that movie? Netflix had a movie a few years back, and it was this interactive movie. Every time I bring this up, people are like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, where the hell were y'all at? This was an interactive movie on Netflix where this guy had, like, it was his life, right? He was living his life and he worked with computers. And at some point in the movie, like, you could decide what he was going to do. Like, A, is he going to type this letter up on the computer, or is he going to leave? And everything that you choose led him down a different path. And I was mind blown by that movie, like way too mind blown. I was having like a whole mental and spiritual orgasm. I was like, no, like seriously, I could not stop talking about it. It reminded me of Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day was a movie that came out in 1993, and the main character was Phil Connors. Shit was crazy. And the crazy thing about it is it was shot, well, it was surrounded in the town of, why did I say surrounded? Like sometimes I just like throw in words in there that don't make no damn sense because I lost my train of thought. It was actually shot in the town of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Why do I even know how to say that? Punxsutawney is a long ass name. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And every year we waited for that damn groundhog to come out to tell us, is it spring? Is spring going to come early or not? And his little fat ass would stay in that hole. And I used to be so mad because I'm like, I can't endure another day of snow and darkness. Okay? Like the darkness for me, it gets dark. I'm a sun baby. Okay. And I don't, everybody can believe what they believe, but I feel like Black people, we are supposed to be around sun. We're tropical people. I was not meant to live nowhere where the sun don't shine for a whole season. I lose my mind. So if I ever disappear, y'all know she must be somewhere where it's cold. So I absolutely hated that damn groundhog. However, this movie, Groundhog Day, it's stuck in my head. And I was young. Now, yeah, I'm 43. So I was young when this movie came out. And at the same time, I'm like, it's stuck in my head. And it still sticks in my head till this day because I know that it was meant for me to really, it was one of those highlight moments. You know how you have your Instagram, you've got all your photos and whatnot, but you have in your videos, but you have the highlights, them little highlight buttons. The Groundhog, the movie, The Groundhog Day, was a highlight button for me. And I know that Spirit made it a highlight button because there was you do not need to forget this. The concept of this movie means something in your life. And as long as this becomes a highlight, you'll never forget. And later on, when you're living in that loop, you'll remember this movie, you'll come back to it and get the information that you need to get you out of the damn loop. Because that's how shit happens, okay? So let me tell you. So the thing with the movie is he woke up every day and he was like on repeat. Shit was just like repeating. Now, I'm going to show you how these two movies kind of come together. The one on Netflix, which I totally don't even know the name. I'll think of it and post it in Patreon later. But the one on Netflix and then Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day, he just kept waking up every day repeating the same thing over and over. And the whole concept for him was do something different, dummy. Like, seriously, he just repeating the same shit over and over. He was a shitty person, but it's like, do something different. Break the cycle by doing something different. It gets a lot deeper than that. But he finally decided to come outside of himself and start doing things differently than what he was used to. And it shifted the loop. It broke the pattern. Now, the movie for Netflix, this was about his decisions. And you could like rewind and go back and make another decision because he knew, oh shit, if I choose this path, sorry for my language, I'm sorry. If you guys are like language sensitive, then let me know. So I don't know if I can. I can't be me if I can't. So I'll try to tone it down a little bit. So he was able to go back and, press rewind so that he can get a fresh start. Like, oh, I know where selecting B is going to take me. Like we knew because it was an interactive movie. So if we pressed B, we knew, oh, he's going to fall off the cliff. Rewind, let's go back and choose differently. So when I left the US and I moved to Aruba, that's how I felt. There were so many things that happened in a span of like 3 days that kept showing me you, as they like to say, jumped timelines. You did it. Like you legitly did it. But now let's rewind on how this started. I was in a loop, and this loop became extremely prevalent to me. When I always call it seasons, right? The seasons of my life. And I would notice that certain seasons were repeating. There may be a deceptive person in my life. I'd get rid of them. They'd come back in a different form. And the same cycle. It was like the same type of relationship, even the same events. Like I'm sitting in a cafe with the new person that's deceptive, but 5 years ago I was sitting in a different cafe ordering the exact same thing with someone else that was deceptive. And I started having these aha moments like, whoa, something's going on. Even to the point that I was able to fine point a certain month of the year where I noticed it sounds kind of morbid, but I was going to funerals a lot. I stopped going to funerals because I was like, this is weird. Why is all this happening this month? Every few years in this one particular month, people tend to like cross over. What is going on? Now, because I'm a very intuitive person and because I don't mind spending time by myself and isolating when my spirit tells me to isolate, I am maybe more aware than the average person that is distracted with work outside. My work requires me to isolate at times. My work requires me to go in and to, really study myself and my path in order to help others. So there's a lot of self-awareness occurring because of being in that space where I analyze myself and my journey. I know that the average person has to, the typical person, they're in their 9 to 5. You got a lot going on. You have to do this, that, and all these other things for other people. And I know that being intuitive and having my life set up the way that it is, it gives me the opportunity to catch things that people typically don't. So I've had a lot of time to see the patterns in my life. Okay. This is what we call the loop. If you're noticing that you keep getting into a certain type of relationship, and there's a couple things about this, but let me say this. You keep getting into a certain type of relationship. You find yourself living in the same environment over and over again, no matter how much you move, no matter how much you think it's going to be different. You continue to attract the same kind of people. And you're like, you know what? I thought I did the work. Okay. I read all of Ian Van Zandt's books. I went to therapy. Why is this still happening? If you even find that, your money is funny, it just has a pattern, whether you hoard it or you let go of it, no matter what situation you find yourself in, getting more of it or less of it, you find a pattern. Yes, we can sum this up into behaviors, right? Logically, we can say these are behaviors that come from our foundation. However, our foundation was set up, whatever we learned, whatever we were taught, whatever we absorbed, whatever we continued to repeat, this is us repeating what we absorbed through childhood, what was given to us in our foundation as adults. And it's almost like a magic spell, right? It's like it's a conditioning that is so tightly implanted in your mind. It's in there. It's so secure in there that you continue to repeat these things, even though you are consciously like, something's wrong. I'm repeating this cycle. I know better. Why do I keep doing it? I will say in that sense, it requires you to jump outside of your comfort zone in order to break the habits. It really requires you to jump outside of your comfort zone to break the habits. It's doing things like the Netflix movie that you typically would not do. If you find yourself approaching another relationship that feels familiar than before, it's walking away and saying, I'm going to choose differently. And I'm going to have the faith that I will have the opportunity to choose differently. A lot of people don't really express that courage and faith. I promise you from experience, you do get the opportunity to do it different if you're open to it. You really got to be open to it. Not just say, I'm open to it, but you open being when the opportunity comes to do something differently, you go for it, not talk yourself out of it and not allow your mental fears and the physical fears that are surrounding you to get in the way. Really, truth be told, your life is written with many different paths for you to take. I know this because of the spiritual work that I've done with so many people. And unfortunately, I have had clients that I have read them and I have been around them, and people that I've loved just in my personal life, I've been around them and I've had dreams giving them warnings, and I would give them a warning like, hey, I don't know what's about to happen, but I received a message that you need to choose differently. And if you don't choose differently, it's going to end bad. And unfortunately, those people did not decide to choose differently, and a few of them have passed away. Now that's because of their life, not because of anything I said. It's because the life they were living. But what I'm saying is I've bear witness to the fact that we are given, always given a path to take that does not lead down a certain path of destruction. We're always given the opportunity. Most people don't see that opportunity because they're wired to be comfortable with the same decisions that they make over and over again. It's like your wellness. It's like your weight loss. It's like your education. It's your relationships. It's your home. It's your money. When you're comfortable in a certain energy field, you will continue to do things and attract situations to you that keep you comfortable, because outside of your comfort zone, there's this feeling of fear. And the only reason why that feeling of fear is there is because you haven't yet conquered that place. You haven't yet conquered the healthy relationship, so your fear keeps you in the unhealthy one. You haven't yet conquered having money, and even though you think you want it, so your fear keeps you in the state of poverty or lack. Fear is, there's a certain fear that will keep you safe, and there's a certain fear that is just because you haven't mastered it. You're not comfortable with it. You're uncomfortable with the unknown. And when you get to know your body, you can feel it. The fear that makes you, that alerts you that something's not right is in your gut. It's in your gut. It's something don't feel right. You even say it out loud. That fear that keeps you from moving forward and exploring something new and breaking patterns is in your head. You'll overanalyze. You'll always be stuck in your head. You'll drive yourself crazy going back and forth. And that is because you're fighting the break of the loop of the cycle. Okay. Now, spiritually, what is happening is you've been put in this space that most of the time your parents put you in there. And out of their fears, out of the conditioning, out of the learning. And it's not at fault at your parents, but there comes to a point, well, some of our parents just wasn't. Yeah, some of them tried their best. Some of them tried their best. I'm going to be nice and say that. There are some parents that they're not shit. But again, yet in even being not shit, they tried their best. I'm leaving space for the parents that probably need to be in jail. Okay. But for the other ones, they tried their best. And their best was taught from what was given to them. There comes a point we got to stop blaming them, and we just got to start making changes. However, we are working and vibing and centering ourselves off of what was taught to us. And then there comes the opportunity to shift. Spiritually, what is happening is, okay, great. Here's the foundation. Here's the foundation that you were given. But now there's something to break. And in the breaking of this repetitiveness, what we like to call sometimes generational curses, requires you to level up. But the biggest thing about it, because you can level up and do the work, you can level up by doing the work, which is going to therapy, being real and honest with yourself, asking your friends and family to actually be honest with you, and you being able to take the truth, constructive criticism, you doing something you typically don't do, you deciding, I'm not going to hang out in the free space. I'm going to jump into the space where I have to actually hold myself accountable. And in order to break that, it does require courage. Now, I have a ritual that I performed that helped me to break it. And let me say something about rituals when it comes to the loop and wanting to go to the next step in your life. There's always an opportunity to level up. It is solely determined if you're going to take it or not. You can stay where you're at, or you could do the work to level up. And let me tell you something. Staying where you're at may be comfortable for you, and that is fine. If you are I'm staying where I'm at person, or you've already went to your many levels up and you're like, this is it right here, this is my zone, I'm not talking to you. But for those of you that are like, I am so tired of life repeating like this. I am so tired of daydreaming about the life that I want but never getting to it. What do I need to do? Why does this stuff keep coming around? I am so sorry that I have to be so brutally honest with you. And excuse my language, please remove all children and sensitive ears. And I mean this with all love when I say, you got to stop being a bitch. You just gotta stop being a bitch. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I could have chosen another word, but it wasn't passionate enough. I mean it. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. You want the healthy relationship, right? You really do want it. You've read the books. You've went to see, I don't know how many psychics or prophets. You've watched the movies. You've wrote down the affirmations. You've manifested under a full moon. You've prayed to God. You've done spiritual fast over and over. You've went without food and water for 3 days to prove you're worthy of it. But what you won't allow yourself to do, which is where you're not getting the courage, is to say, you know what? I always choose men or women like this. But the one that I should be choosing is the one I'm not attracted to. One, because that's probably where it's at. Sometimes we can't trust what we're attracted to if we keep attracting the same kind of energy. You got to move past that. You have to try something different. Another thing is sometimes we just don't have the courage to walk up to the person that we see as being a level or few steps level up than us. We feel inadequate. We feel not good enough. So instead of walking up to the individual that has their life together, that goes to therapy, that works out every day, that has a spiritual life, that has balance, we say, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can maintain that. You're afraid for somebody to see you because you think you're not good enough. So you keep settling for the low-hanging fruit. And then later it's everybody else's fault because you didn't have enough courage to move in a different direction. Do something different. I'm getting to the ritual. Money. That might mean getting a financial coach. That might mean getting some financial books. That might mean doing something so uncomfortable. That might mean not spending money and having people judge you for what you're dressing in or what you're driving or what you got in your house. That might mean that. We bitch up at the start line and we just go back. Every time you feel yourself bitching up, that is when you need to say, just take a deep breath and say, I'm going to try something different. Really, you are in a loop. Life keeps you in a loop of repetitive experiences and repetitive energy because you are trying to discover your true self in the midst of this season that we're calling a loop. And in order to break the loop, in order to get out of repeat mode, in the midst of finding yourself, once you find yourself, you can't go back into repeat mode. You have to change the story. You got to change the song. It hurts. It's scary. It's absolutely scary. It is absolutely scary. I'm going to tell you right now. I remember when I first seen my partner on a dating app at that, right? I'm not going to lie, y'all. This is me telling you. This is the Leo pouring her heart out right here. I remember looking at his profile and reading it and saying, yeah, no. Nope, not doing this one. And I went to go swipe, and something loud in my mind said, don't you dare swipe. You always choose the same type of person. Choose something different. And I had to sit with myself for a minute. I said, what are you doing? And I said to myself, you're being a little bitch. Why are you about to swipe past him? And I had to be so truthful with myself. I can't even believe I'm about to say this. I had to admit to myself right there in that moment with that damn app open that I've always chosen men that I felt they couldn't hurt me. And the truth is they definitely hurt me. But when I would see them, I would choose men that was like, you don't have much, so I could walk away good. You're not going to hurt me. You're not going to damage me because I'm not afraid of you. And what would happen is I would fall in love. and they didn't have much with the self-esteem, and their foundation, we all had rocky start and foundation growing up, and that played a part of everything. And while I'm healing, they want to stay in a space of dysfunction. And I built a life around this person, and I ended up in heartbreak. Okay, I ended up with not that person that I deserved to be with, because I kept choosing what was safe for me, but what was dysfunctional. Because I just didn't, in a weird space, didn't even know that there was this much lack of confidence, that I was always choosing. I was avoiding the man that could challenge me. I was avoiding the man that was, in my sense, as I looked at that app, is he better? No, I'm the shit. But yeah, that one walk away, that one might hurt. On paper, just like everything was like, whoa, whoa, I didn't accomplish this, but he did. I was intimidated. And I remember a male friend of mine said, that's how you know you need to choose. Don't choose somebody that doesn't scare you. Choose somebody that, in a good way, intimidates you and challenges you. And that was my level up. And what occurred from there is the courage to keep leveling up. And I'm like, oh, I did it. Took a deep breath. Turned out great. And I just kept making level up decisions. It is scary to do, but it is a conscious decision. Right when you are at the door of making a decision towards something that you are scared of and that you do not know how to maintain, take a deep breath and just ask yourself, if I master this, am I going to level up? Or is this a situation where I'm going to be in the exact same spot next year? Because this is easy. I've mastered this. I already know how to do this. If you want to level up, you got to level up. Now, I did a ritual, and here's my thing with rituals. Rituals, the magic behind ritual is it's a manipulation of energy. Okay? Prayer is a manipulation of energy. When you pray, you are moving energy. Okay? When you do a ritual, you are moving energy. This energy comes back to you. That's why you don't pray against somebody. That's why you don't do a ritual against somebody. The only time you doing something against somebody is in protection of you and your family. And it's not, oh, I wish for this or that to happen. It's a protect me ritual. Okay? I just want to put that out there for y'all. When you manipulate energy, it comes back to you for you. Okay? So that is why prayer works. It is a manipulation of energy. When you do a ritual, you are manipulating energy, but you are also communicating with your psyche that this is what I believe is going to work. And belief is powerful. Belief is powerful. If you don't believe me, look at your life right now. Whatever your dominant thoughts are in your relationship, in your finances, in your career, with your friendships, with your family, with your kids, with your person, with your health, with your wellness, your dominant belief in all those areas shows by the way you live. It's funny when I get a new client and they're like, oh yeah, but I don't do that. And I don't do this. And I'm like, why did you call me then? It is clear that you do that because what's it say in the Bible? I'm paraphrasing, but I know somebody out there is saying it out loud, but basically I'm paraphrasing, but the work of the individual by the fruit. You know the roots by the fruit that tree bears, okay? So basically, if it's an apple tree, it's going to bear apples. If it's an orange tree, it's going to bear oranges. So when people come to me and they're like, I'm healthy, but they got all these things going on, I'm like, you're an apple tree bearing bananas. That doesn't sound right. Somebody's not being honest. Whatever your dominant belief is, your life is showing it. So even if you think, oh, my belief system's here or there, take evaluation of your life. Look at your life. Whatever you think in that area, your dominant belief, it's going to show up in the patterns of your life. Rituals help you to replace that belief. Because if you have faith in your ritual, it will help you shift that belief. So here's what I did. Now, my ritual is kind of extreme. So I'm not saying you need to do the extreme. But what I did for my ritual, it was time. I had gone through many, many seasons in life. And I woke up one day and I said, you completed a life cycle. I knew I did. You know you do when you do. It's a strong feeling that keeps repeating itself, and the message will become almost tangible. Every time you turn around, there's like a book or a social media message or a person talking about jumping timelines, which just you're jumping into a new energetic space, jumping timelines, completing one cycle, new season. You get all these kind of messages. So I knew I completed something. And all the signs around me were telling me you completed something. New season, new season. This is the beginning of something new. This is the beginning of a whole new life for you. And it kept repeating itself. So this is the ritual that I did. I said, okay, the old me has lived. She has learned. She has lost. She has gained. She has lived a very hard, traumatic, challenging life constantly in fight or flight. I looked back at my life. I'm still shocked at how I'm even existing today. And I said, I feel like I'm done with her. Like it's time, like she's ready to go. And there was this looming feeling like I was going to die, but I really wasn't going to die. What my spirit was trying to tell me is she has to die. Ronnie Lee has to die. She's done. She's absolutely done. You've completed this cycle. And one day it was such a strong feeling that I woke up and I said, I'm going to perform a closing ceremony, a rebirth. So I'm going to put to rest the old me, and I am going to have a ceremony, a birthing ceremony for the new me, because I'm done. I have gone to years of therapy. I literally read maybe not almost every Iyanla Vanzant book. I did the work. I really did that work. Like I talk big shit about doing the work because I literally did the work, which is why I'm sympathetic to people, because I know how hard it is to do the work. But this is why I've even set up this Patreon, because I know what is required to do the work. And I watch and I get the messages when people are serious about wanting to move to the next step. This is the platform, but I'm here and I'm involved in this Patreon. So if you all message me and you're like, hey, this is what's going on, you got to communicate me. I know when someone's actually ready. A lot of you coming into the Patreon, it's already showing that you're ready for more or the next. But it's funny when I see people take the very next cycle. It's easy for me to identify people that are ready for their next cycle. So, and it's because I was able to identify it with myself. So for my ritual, I changed my name. I didn't even just change it. I legally changed it. And I chose my family last name, Guillory. So Creole. But it's my family last name. And I kept that because of the strength, the culture, and so much that is attached to that last name that I'm so proud of. And I changed my name to Genesis because I was turning 40 years old and I knew that this was the new beginning. I threw away everything in my house. I packed 2 suitcases. Anything that I wanted to keep, it had to fit in 2 suitcases. Legally changed my name, wrote out what my new life would look like, and I moved out of the country. What I decided in that moment is I'm going to take bold steps, because in order to break the loop and get out of repeat mode, you have to know what you want. You have to see it. You have to write it down. Pray over it. Hell, stick it in a frame if you need to. But you need to kill off the old you and create the new you. And when you create the new you, you got to get a visual of what she or he looks like, down to how they dress, down to the hair, the scents that you wear, Visualize the bank account. It may be just stable. It could be a lot. It could be throwing it all away and moving to the woods. You've got to visualize the friend group that you want, the vacations, the car that you drive. These seem like little things, but they are all a part of the bigger picture. When you get the sign that it is time for the old you to die, she will stick around, he will stick around and keep you in repeat mode until you create the new him or the new her. It doesn't have anything to go after if you don't create something new. When an individual passes away, the spirit leaves the body, but it does not live again unless it has another body to go into. You have to give it something else to go into. I was 200 pounds when I killed the old me. The new me got rid of everything, changed her name, got into a healthy relationship, moved to Aruba. Never been there a day in my life. Never even took a vacation there. Was never there. And lost a hell of a lot of weight. Just start dropping that shit off like it was like, what, am I sick? How the hell am I losing all this weight? Well, probably because the old me struggled with working out, but the new me said, I'm going to do this shit every day and I'm going to love it. The old me made excuses for the people that were around her and why she kept those people around. The new me cut all them motherfuckers off. When I knew that it wasn't right to move forward with them, there was already chances, there was already lessons, there was already the awareness of the lessons learned and the thankful for being in my life and the gratitude. I had went through all that, just didn't cut them off. I was beyond that. And at that point, it was just time to close the door. The new me swiped the debit card a lot. The old me did. The new me said, nah, you're going to have to get that shit together. You're going to have to budget differently. You're going to have to read a book on money. You're going to have to hire somebody to teach you something about money. I killed off the old me, and that was my ritual. And I remember upon changing my name, many people asked me, like, legally, like when it came to even buying my house, the new me bought a house. And because that was what was in the vision. That's what it was before I killed off the old me. And I told the old me, you got to go. I love you. I appreciate you. And I know that this is time because it feels right to say you can rest now. My inner child has been put to rest because I healed the issues that kept her holding on and making decisions in my life. And it felt right to say, you can go to sleep now. Now I become who I was destined to be. But I got to put you to bed in order for me to be her. I got to do different things. I got to eat different. I got to think different. I got to sleep different. Shit. I have to move my body different. I have to be around different people to absorb the energy that I need from those spaces to continue to manifest my new life. And I am now in another season in my new life. And today there was nonstop epiphanies of what is about to come. And now, because that's something, when you choose the new life, you will see upon your new seasons within that life, because that life is going to have new seasons. But the beautiful part about it is when you consciously kill off the old you and you choose a new life, you start to see things happening before they happen based off of choices. So I'm at a space where I'm like, oh shit, in my old life, that girl, Ronnie, she was at this same point and she chose A. I'm choosing B. I promise y'all, it is so clear. It's like that fucking movie on Netflix. It's like you're in a video game. This is the game. And now, since I killed off the old me, new cycle, like Mario Brothers, we on a new level. I can now choose a different path because I know if Mario takes that path down that little green tube, his ass is going to fall right in that lava river. And I'm not trying to do that. I did that shit before. So I'm not going to take that green tube down. I'm going to keep climbing, keep going up, jump past them little ducks, and I'm going to make it to that flag. And when you kill off the old you and create the new you will clearly see where you need to now make a different decision in order to continue to go a different route. I am now at the door of a decision that in my previous life, I chose A, and I am now choosing B. I did A, not doing that shit again. That is how you break the loop. And then you know what you'll notice? Your deja vu's different. It's kind of not always there because this is it. You're living it. You're in the space where you only allowed your daydreams to go. Stop letting the daydream just be a daydream. What you're doing is you're imposing your true feeling of what you really want your life to be into this world. And it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's going to force you, even if it's uncomfortable and painful, into a position where you're going to have to finally choose you. But warning, do not create the new you before, do not kill off the old you, the current you, before you have done the work. Because if you do that, you will bring the old you into the new you. You have to do the work. Yes, when you become the new you, there's going to be some things that you are still going to need to learn, but it is in a different atmosphere, different people. You know how you walk around, you're like, oh, I'm always helping people. There's nobody helping me. Yeah, that's that old you shit. The new you got a whole team of helpers. But there is something preventing you from getting to the new you. And I'm telling you right now, it's you. Oh, that's what I was saying. I kind of like went off. When I was changing my name, people were like, you know, like when I bought my house, everything, like certain documents had my old name. And people just kept asking me, why did you change your name? I'm like, well, first of all, stop asking me shit. Like, y'all so nebby. But I changed my name because I didn't name myself. I didn't name myself. And I had a lot of trauma attached to my previous name. I had traumatic experiences happen to me from someone that shared the same name as me. And I was walking around with that shit every day. I'm like, no, you gotta go. That whole life is dead. But do not kill off the current you without doing the work. And don't be lazy about doing the work. And I'm telling you right now, just do the work. Because next year, today's the 11th. Next year, August 11th, are you still in the same place? You could start doing the work right now. You call a therapist tomorrow. Shit, they got them online at this point. You don't want to invest in yourself? Because that's what it takes. That's what it takes. I had to go without in order to spend money to invest in my upgrade. And I don't think a lot of people like to do that. I had to sacrifice my time, my energy, and certain things that I liked in order to be better, in order to invest in things that would make me better. And that's where a lot of us fall short. You'll invest in other people. You'll invest in the things that keep you down. But why is it such a hard thing to invest in the things that will upgrade you? You got to sit with yourself and ask yourself that. And my biggest thing that I want to say before I go is ask yourself why. When you say something, when you're like, you know what? I don't like that. Or I want to do that. Stop just ending it there. Say why. Answer yourself. Keep asking yourself why over and over till you get to your truth. Because it's going to reveal a lot to you. The loop is real. No matter if you're logical, spiritual, or both, the loop is real. And if you don't break that shit, you're going to keep living it. I see the loop. There's someone I know right now that is back in an environment, back in a space that they were in years before, almost in the same situation. And I'm watching them closely to see if they choose B instead of A. It's funny because since getting out of my loop, I can always see someone in their own loop. Y'all, think of Mario Brothers, real shit. It's a game. Stop choosing the same thing. But just like for Mario to get to the end, he had to die a couple times. Because that Mario wasn't going to make it. That Mario kept falling in the lava. you might have to, we know truthfully, you got to heal your shit. You got to do the work. You got to keep it real with yourself. Stop having fake people around you that just say yes and make you feel good. Have people around you to tell you the truth. No, you're lazy. No, you're not committed. No, you don't give a shit enough. I had to have people like that around me. That shit hurt. Yeah, I wanted to fight every last one of them. The old me wanted to fight. I wanted to punch every last one of them that was like, you're being lazy. Yeah, you're an asshole. I was like, I don't see myself as that. Well, you are. But it was the truth that set me free. I know that sounds corny, but it's real. It's real. So I hope whoever this was supposed to reach, it reached you. And I hope you do the work so that you can put to rest and have a proper memorial service for the old you. Because that new you life, that shit, you ever hear something from people that's stepping into their new life? They're like, it's like a dream. I can't believe this is happening to me. It's like a dream. I can't believe this is happening to me. That shit's real. Don't bitch up. Choose B, not A. You already went down A. It wasn't the space to be in. Let's move on to the next game. I'll see you all on the next episode of Roots and Remedies.